Hi guys, it is she, and I have finally decided to get over myself and record something that might turn out less than perfect and not have a script and just speak from the heart and try to communicate with you, my early community members, because as a speech and debate kid, I really have this fixation with always having the perfect words for every scenario. It's made me a really great interviewer or interviewee. I'm really good at job interviews, and it's kind of why I've kind of decided to take this path in life to be a motivational speaker. But at the same time, I feel like when you limit your ability to communicate with others with such a high standard of having the exact perfect thing to say, a lot of things never get said. So this podcast is me practicing that, being a little bit more raw and vulnerable, and just trying to connect with the few people right now who seem to be resonating with me and my message. I'm really grateful for you guys, by the way. I have 150 followers as of right now. Yay. And you know, like as far as this motivational speaker, motivational content creator journey, I've been failing upwards for probably 4 years now. I think it was 2021 where, of course, after a breakup, I decided that I would just do something else. I think I just realized that I did everything right, everything that they say you're supposed to do with school, in my relationship, and in general, and I was still suffering through a pandemic alone. So I decided it was worth it to figure out what I wanted to do. And I really think in October of this year was when I finally decided what my Barbie is going to be. And to me, the idea of a Barbie is the woman that you aspire to be. What does she look like? What does she wear? Where does she live? What are her accessories? The most important items in her life. And I'm really trying to make it's like consistency is a hard word to say, right? Because people get this idea that consistency means doing it perfectly every time. But like for me, consistency is really about persistence. It's just continuing to do it. And yeah, I mean, I've been failing upwards. Like I have not gotten any huge viral videos or like any real large chunks of followers, but I feel myself getting more confident and my message is becoming clearer, and I think my content is becoming better. I think the proof is in the pudding of what consistency has done for the quality of my work. And now I think I just have to keep going until one day it happens. And I really do teach the idea of inevitability, and I think I'm going to be a testament to that one way or another. And the only way I can really like have people have confidence in my message is to be the living testament of my teachings. So I'm going to do this no matter what. There are a few topics I want to talk about. I don't have a script, but I do have an outline because I'm a list girly and I just like to have, things to talk about. Funny enough, my tablet just malfunctioned and my list disappeared. Okay, maybe that's a sign that I should just go off the cuff. Yeah, like it's actually not working. Okay. The first thing I wanted to talk about was to take your mental health seriously and not to wait until everything is already in place to start. Like the last piece of the puzzle is not for you to get your mental health under check. That is actually the first. That's the barrier to entry to starting your life. I definitely made that mistake recently where I've kind of been skirting around the different doctors that I've worked with and what their diagnosis has been for me or their suspicions have been for what I might have. I've been looking for minimal intervention, right? And it just got to the point where this fall, I basically landed the perfect job. It fit my schedule perfectly. It was something I was passionate about. I had lovely coworkers and the a caring boss that showed me appreciation. It's everything I've ever asked for. And then I decided to get treatment for these symptoms that I've had on and off for probably about 12 years. And the medication they put me on is great. I feel fantastic. My brain is clear. I have the balance in my life to actually pursue the things I want with some kind of consistency. But the first few weeks that I was on it, I was having some serious symptoms, like really, really bad episodes. And I happened to have gone to work on one of the worst days of this entire episode, and I was sent home and let go because of it, because of not even necessarily the fact that I was having an episode, but the things that I said or was comfortable saying as a result of just the altered state of mind. And, I'm not mad about it, because at the end of the day, they're running a business. And if you knowingly let someone who is unstable come back to work, you don't get to act dumb when they do unstable shit. So I'm not mad. At the same time, I'm devastated, because it's like, if I would have made the decision a month before I found the dream job, I would still have the dream job. And I think I've been suffering through my symptoms, just kind of thugging it out, because I've always felt like I never wanted to give credence to these healthcare professionals that I felt were trying to tell me that I was crazy. And as a result, I ended up acting the craziest I've ever acted in front of people who I really needed to believe that I was competent and capable, because I am competent and capable. And I really think that's the importance of taking these things seriously the first time. At the same time, while I'm talking about mental health, I think it's also important to loop in professional boundaries, because I think mentally ill people struggle to understand where the line is between the things you talk to with your coworkers, and especially your managers and bosses, and the things that you really should save to write in your diary and really not speak about outside of that. The job I left this summer, the reason I moved to New Jersey, was basically because I had a manager that could not help herself and was oversharing and making me uncomfortable, talking about politics, race, gender, herself, her interests, getting way too deep and intimate. And I kind of pitied her and laughed at her when I left that job. But, my little episode led me to do pretty much the same thing. With my bosses. Like, she was talking to her subordinates, which I think is a little bit more, there's leniency, there's nothing we can do about it, but I did that with my bosses and suffered the consequences. So as we as young professionals are navigating the corporate and professional world, I think it's important to have good outlets and to manage our emotions and our mental health to run a tight ship, because you cannot afford to be making these poor decisions in rooms with important people, with decision makers, with people whose perspective of you matters. And this isn't anything I didn't know. It's just I got really comfortable because I felt like this was an environment in which I was being accepted into and embraced. But obviously, they didn't really feel like I was that. I felt like part of the team, but obviously I wasn't that crucial, which is understandable. I only worked there for a month. Just in general, when you're having professional communications, don't lead with what's wrong with you or what's wrong with your life. I mean, everyone has something wrong with them or wrong with their life. No one is talking to you to hear your problems. You need to focus on the work you're doing. And if you're going to share anything, it should be positive, interesting, uplifting, inspiring, like Make it so that people associate you with good, happy things, because they're going to want to work with you. They're going to find ways to keep you around. They're going to find ways to put you in higher levels of authority because they trust you to create a positive and enjoyable work environment. And that's the truth. Now, when we're talking about career aspirations, I feel like a lot of us can relate with the fact that through our decisions to get higher educations to make us qualified for these amazing careers, we have kind of strapped ourselves to what could potentially be a life-crippling, life-altering amount of debt in the way of student loans. And for me, my student loans are something that have kind of helped me in the sense that it's made it clear that I don't have the option to do nothing, and I don't really have the option not to succeed at something, but has also stifled me in the sense that I am being pushed really, really forcefully by the people around me and by myself to just find a predictable, traditional, safe option that's going to help me pay my bills. Again, through my experiences of the pandemic, I know that you can do everything correct and find that predictable, safe job and be laid off in favor of AI. So I am making the conscious decision to pursue my purpose, no matter how much it continues to cost me. And it has cost me a lot. But I have a vision. The vision is very clear in my mind, and I believe that inevitably the algorithm and you, the audience, will see things my way. And I'm taking that bet on myself because everything is a gamble. I could gamble my life on an employer. I can gamble my life on a partner. But I don't think anything is more worthy of my belief, my faith, than myself and my God. And so I'm going to stick with my guns on this one. My lovely editor, who I'm so glad I found, I just feel like I keep meeting people like him who just renew my faith that I'm supposed to do this. I feel like people see it in me when I talk about what I want to do with my life. They see it for me. And as a result, I see it for myself. In general, I just feel like the traditional route keeps rejecting me. Like I was ready to marry my first boyfriend and pop out all the kids and do the whole thing. And he broke up with me because he said that he couldn't handle, he basically said he wasn't deserving of the kind of love I was offering. I was ready to conform for this job and I got fired. Yes, for an episode, but at the end of the day, my mental health status is who I am. It's part of me. It's something I'm going to have to manage. And if it means that I'm not an attractive candidate to hold a job, then I feel like it's totally plausible to conclude that I'm not here to hold a traditional job. And I just have to figure out how I'm going to accomplish that. My last thing that I wanted to cover was the idea that if I'm going to fail anyway, I'd rather fail at exactly what I want to do. I don't think there will be anything to regret if in 60 years from now, I failed at becoming a motivational speaker, content creator, model, entrepreneur. I don't think there'll be anything to regret because I'll know at the age of 24, I was giving it everything I had with no resources, with a few good supporters. But I mean, when I started, everyone looked at me totally cross-eyed and crazy. I think it'll give me a lot of peace to know that this version of myself believed in it wholeheartedly and moved through the world with that fact in mind. If for some reason it doesn't work out, I think I'm just not the kind of person that doesn't succeed, and I will find something that will be suitable. But while I have youth and the energy and the vigor, I don't really have a choice. Every time I've made the decision not to do it, it has literally bitten me in the ass. It's like the universe will not let me settle for anything less than this vision. And so I'm going to stop fighting it, and I'm going to stop whining about it, and I'm going to do it. So, as my first and last podcast of the year 2025, I hope you got something from this little chat and will make the decision to do it, to show them, to build your Barbie exactly the way you imagine her, because it is your life, and life is your creation. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, and you have the opportunity to do everything you want to do. And I think that is true liberation. It makes me feel so good and happy to know that. And I hope you feel the same way. And until next time. Oh, before I close this off, I wanted to say part of my Barbie rocks a purple BlackBerry. And I'm going to activate this phone because I want to have a phone that's not connected to the World Wide Web, just so that I can make emergency calls and maybe potentially upload a few like gospel songs or songs that make me feel good. And I would like to take this on my hikes, just to have on hand to make emergency calls and maybe have a little music to listen to for my meditations. Because I've found a solution for my symptoms with my mental health through medication, but I just have this feeling that if I find the right resources and I take all these holistic remedies seriously, I'm not going to be dependent or at the mercy of the healthcare system. That to me actually is the worst case scenario. I'm not in a rush to get off my medication. I'm very happy and stable on my medication, but I feel like me and a BlackBerry might just be an unstoppable duo. So I'll keep you updated on that journey through this podcast. A lot of my other content is definitely going to feel a little bit more performative and put on because I am trying to put on a show. But I want this podcast to feel a little different, a little bit more genuine and real. So hopefully me and my editor figure out a way to put my little mini me right here. Hopefully she's waving at you right now because we figured it out. And anytime you see her, you can be sure that you're getting the real me. Okay. Me and Riri, me and Lil Ree, we go together really bad. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Take care. Mwah.